The Jacksonville Jaguars offseason started by getting word that backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor was retiring from the league. Other notable retirements included kicker Matt Prater from the Houston Texans, tackle Taylor Lewan from the Tennessee Titans, both in our division, former Jaguar defensive end Calais Campbell, and guard Kevin Zeitler of the Ravens. For a team that was just in the Super Bowl, it sure seemed like nobody wanted to re-sign with the Jaguars, as cornerback Marcus Peters, wide receiver Isaiah Walker, defensive end Clark Bush, and free safety Terrell Burgess all declined contract offers to stay with the team. In free agency, Isaiah Walker was the first to receive an offer, but to make any more, we had to make some moves. Zay Jones was out, and the Pats sent young wideout David Bognasty and a 6th-round pick back for him. Then, Cam Robinson and his $22 million salary for the season was out the door with a 5th-round pick to bring in a 2nd-rounder from the New York Jets. That gave Jacksonville the ability to offer Hollywood Brown and Mekhi Becton offers. But the largest offer went to corner Trayvon Diggs, who would be the 3rd different CB1 in as many seasons for the team should he sign. And he did. 5 years, $32.5 million with $27.5 million in bonus money. Then Isaiah Rodgers was offered a 5-year deal as well that he accepted right away to join Trayvon Diggs in the secondary. That meant that Darius Williams was expendable and out the door, with 2 7th-rounders for a 2nd-rounder from the Detroit Lions to save $10 million and try to bring in a big lineman in Tristan Wirfs. Safety John Johnson III was also sent an offer to join the squad, but he joined the New York Jets instead, and it was time for Terrell Burgess to get an offer to rejoin the Jaguars. Kirk Cousins was offered the backup quarterback gig now that Tyrod was retired, and voila! Burgess and Cousins signed, as well as Isaiah Walker. In another attempt to save money, John Franklin Myers was sent to Atlanta with a 6th-rounder to grab the 29th overall pick and save Jacksonville about $12-13 million, leading into cheap contract offers for Yetur Gross-Matos, Ross Blacklock, Jamar Johnson, and DeAndre Swift, whom no team was attempting to sign. The Bengals were offering Daxton Hill for Christian Kirk, so it was Daxton Hill and a 3rd-rounder coming in for the most overpriced wide receiver in recent memory. The money saved there allowed the Jaguars to pick up Trevor Lawrence's 5th option, but they had zero plans in picking up Travis Etienne Jr.'s. Not because he's bad, but he's a running back, and they got one of those really cheap. DeAndre Swift signs for 7 years, $10.5 million, and 0 bonus dollars. That meant that Etienne would get shipped, and the Giants offered Kayvon Thibodeaux, which sparked a crazy run, as Etienne was shipped for Thibodeaux and a 4th-round pick, which meant that Odafe Owe could be shipped in the last year of his deal, along with a 2nd and a 6th to get defensive tackle R.L. Richards, who's a channel member, and he came with 2 skill points, by the way, and was signed for the next 3 seasons. Getting Richards, though, meant that Fadukasi could go as well, and he was in the final year of his contract, and he was sent with a 4th and a 7th for Ekwonu of the Panthers, effectively upgrading Cam Robinson at the position. So far, the Jags were upgraded. Trayvon Diggs over Darius Williams, Marquise Brown over Christian Kirk, DeAndre Swift at least equals Etienne, R.L. Richards over Folorunzu Fadukasi, Ekwonu over Robinson, and Thibodeau's at least even with Owe, so it was going well. Big signings around the league: Justin Herbert to the New York Giants, Jalen Hurts to the Detroit Lions, Cam Akers to the Commanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the Dolphins, T. Higgins to the Ravens, Darren Waller to the division rival Titans, Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs both joined the Bears, Cameron Jordan is the newest Bengal for 1 season, Nick Bosa also joins the Bears in a big money spending offseason for them, Rashawn Gary to the Jets to join John Johnson, Darius Slay to the Broncos, while X-Factor Chidobe Awuzie joins the Saints, and the Bengals replace Awuzie with Kenny Moore II. Antoine Winfield Jr. is yet another huge Bears signing, and Jeremy Chin goes to the Lions. Time for the draft, and with the 1st overall pick, the New York Jets select quarterback Bo Reynolds. The Jaguars tried frantically to trade up to pick number 9, and the Cowboys just would not budge. So it was an interdivision deal with the Colts that landed the Jaguars pick number 10 and tackle Terry Anderson, who looks to be a really nice offensive lineman. After that draft day trade of Little to the Panthers, netted a second-round pick, and in an attempt to trade up with the Rams for tight end Maurice Hurst, that was not happening. So, a bit later in the round, a smaller trade up with the other LA team, the Chargers, and Jacksonville had another tackle on their hands, DeMarcus Broyles, who looked amazing. That move sparked the trade of Jawan Taylor to the Seahawks for a third-rounder, and Brandon Scherf to the Pats for a host of draft picks as well. Jags then traded pick number 33 down with the Browns, only to trade pick 50 up with the Cardinals for 40 and give up a 6th and 7th. With that selection, it was a third straight lineman tackle, more specifically an Alan Hannon, who the team was eyeing all along. Then, after another trade down within the second round with the Falcons, the next Jaguar rookie would be tight end Chris Maddox. Then Jacksonville saw themselves the ability to double down on tight end by taking Jared Knox with their next selection, and those two guys should do a nice job of replacing Evan Ingram down the line. Next, it was middle linebacker out of Texas A&M Tremont Harris with the hidden dev. There were some trade downs through the rest of the draft, but the Jags ultimately selected another hidden dev player in defensive end Courtney Rhodes, another tackle in Theodore Reeves, running back Deontay Bates, linebacker Nick Wilson, and their final pick, hidden development safety Gabe Boykin. All in all, a wonderful draft by Jacksonville, doubling, even tripling down on positions of need like offensive line and tight end, while also grabbing high potential, high development players at key spots like middle linebacker, defensive end, and safety that could set the team up to be good for a long time. Big money saving offseason, and I feel like the team did improve greatly. What grade would you give the Jaguars draft, and how do you feel about the offseason? Tell me in the comments section. User players added into the franchise. Channel member Timmy Klink will quarterback the Vikings this year as a starter. Wide receiver Malcolm Proctor is a Bronco. Darrell Law will play corner in Tampa. AJ Jefferson will be a wideout for the Pats. Peace Piper will be a Raiders tight end. Our division will see channel member edge rusher Chad Powers, who should be a dominant force for the Titans. And the New York Jets will welcome wideout Jared Seibel. Preseason additions included running back J.K. Dobbins, wide receiver Johnny Telfer, guard Emmett Purcell, center Derek Black, guard Tyler Wise, tackle Josh Peterson, defensive tackle Avery Dupree, linebackers Kelvin Shepard and Demarius Van Buren, cornerback DeAndre Spence, and safeties Randy Ali and Kendall Dobson, as well as channel member kicker Calvin Mentor, who I just could not stand to see sitting in free agency. Before preseason got started, the Jaguars had to make a couple of tough moves as Jay Tufele gets traded to the San Francisco 49ers for a 4th round pick, and then the big one, Foyesade Oloakin, going back where he came from, the Atlanta Falcons, for a 2nd and 5th round draft choice. Preseason highlights, Jags at 49ers, and we wouldn't normally start here, but that's a 61-yard field goal just drained by Calvin Mentor for the early lead. Later on, 3rd and 18, short pass to J.K. Dobbins, who has it ripped away, and it's scooped up by Jimmy Ward, who takes it untouched to the house for a Niners touchdown. Before the first quarter is over, T-Law runs the offense downfield and hits new target Marquise Hollywood Brown to regain the lead. Then, after a 49er missed field goal, Kirk Cousins takes a shot after this throw for a 15-yard roughing the passer by Justin Hollins to set up Jacksonville nicely in the red zone, but Cousins is picked off on a 3rd and 1 by guess who? Justin Hollins, who makes up for it. But late in the first half, it's the rookie Deontay Bates with the short yardage touchdown to extend the Jaguar lead to 10. The half wasn't over yet, and Isaiah Rodgers, the new signing, making his presence known with a scoop and score of his own to make it a 24-7 ball game. Out of the half, quick goal line pass from Cousins to David Bognasty for a touchdown. And Cousins later found Albert O for another score, and then even the fullback got in on the action as it was Brian Dawson with a short yardage score, and the Jaguars get a 48-7 road blowout win to begin the preseason. Beautiful preseason night in Jacksonville. Rams visit the Jaguars. Alex Ingold gets the Rams side of the scoreboard, lighting up early with a short tutty, and then he struck again in the second quarter with a fullback dive to give the Rams a 14-0 lead. Fourth quarter, and it's third-string quarterback John Simpson trying to lead the charge with a terrific throw to Zach Hackett to give the Jaguars their first lead of the day. But it's Jimmy Thompson for the Rams with a 42-yard rocket to Tutu Atwell to get the Rams the lead right back on a beautiful pass. But Simpson wasn't done. 42 seconds left, and he takes off scrambling for a first down to the 15-yard line. That was followed by this first and 10 strike to Alberto in the end zone, and the Jags had the lead again. Final attempt for Jimmy Thompson off his back foot, and it's short and intercepted to end the ball game. Jaguars get a 24-21 comeback win in front of the home fans. Final preseason game for the Jags at the Commanders, and Kirk Cousins scrambling, fumbling, and it's William Jackson III scooping it and going untouched like that room your mama has been telling you over and over again to clean. Commanders lead 7-0. Second quarter, Sam Darnold gets a short touchdown pass to Logan Thomas, and then later, a longer one to Chris McDonald for a 21-0 lead as the Commanders command the Jaguars. 3 field goals were enough to finish the Jaguars off by a score of 30-0. Now, John Simpson outplayed Kirk Cousins in the preseason, and it was nice to see Isaiah Walker and David Bognasty show out at wide receiver. Bo Melton and Alberto used their opportunities well, and on defense, Tremont Harris and Dark Specta led the youth movement with 1.5 sacks apiece. But it was time to make some really tough decisions, and I'm honestly not sure how I feel about them going forward. Alberto's value was high, so he was shipped off to Miami for a third-round pick. Devin Lloyd had a really quiet preseason with Tremont Harris's play. The Jags decided on moving him to Chicago for a 4th and a 7th-round pick. Javian Hawkins is in the final year of his contract, and he wasn't making the top 3 rushers, so he was sent to Buffalo for a 6th-round pick. Bo Melton never really seems to fit into the season plans, even though I love him, so he was shipped to Arizona for a 6th-rounder as well. Jamar Johnson had his spot taken by the rookie Gabe Boykin, so he wanted out, and his request was granted. He was moved to Seattle for yet another 6th-round pick. In looking at the final depth chart, I'm hoping the team is destined for great things. Trevor Lawrence has ample weapons to get the job done with DeAndre Swift, Hollywood Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Alex O'Neal, even David Bognasty and Isaiah Walker can get the job done at receiver. And then there's Evan Ingram at tight end with a couple of rookies as well. The offensive line is a little more raw than in previous years, but I feel it has way more potential. Aquanu, Westbrook, Santos, Broyles, and Anderson are all very talented. The pass rush should be great with Trayvon Walker, Dark Specta, R.L. Richards, Josh Allen, and Kayvon Thibodeau all rushing in. Chad Muma is going to have to prove himself, replacing Foyesade Olokin as the starting middle linebacker. And I feel that Tremont Harris can really help him at that middle linebacker position. And Trayvon Diggs should be an upgrade over any CB1 the Jags have had thus far in the series, which means he should probably break the pick record. Add Daxton Hill and the returning Andre Sisco, and this team should be ready to give another Super Bowl run a go. Jacksonville will open the season at home against the high-powered Buffalo Bills. Then 5 of their next 7 games will be divisional, with 2 versus the Titans and the Texans, and 1 more with the Colts. They will also have rematches later in the season with the Dolphins, who they beat in the divisional round of the playoffs last year, the Chiefs, who they beat in the AFC title game, and the Packers, who they lost the Super Bowl to. The latter rematch is the closer to the season, oddly enough. How do you feel about the Jaguars this season? Can they get to the Super Bowl again and win it this time? Find out next time on the next episode of Jaguars Ball Z. Thank you to the channel members for all that you do. Special shout out to TClink24 and Christian Horn, the franchise quarterbacks, and an extra special shout out to Matthew Hackett, our only general manager. Check out more content right here.